When you hear people say things like, everybody can change, but they're only going to change for the one, and you're not the one. Like, obviously, they didn't change, so it's you. They didn't love you enough, and you're not the one. But they're going to change for the one. When they meet the magical person, they're going to all of a sudden become a different person. This is so not true. And I'm just going to take a very simple example and kind of just break it down to talk about an avoidant, let's say. An avoidant is going to struggle in most relationships, and you're probably going to have a breakup somewhere down the road. But they really don't like to talk about a lot of their problems. They don't like conflict. They'll stay away from those issues. So a lot of things will be pushed down, then they're just going to pop up at some point and kind of really like overwhelm the couple and usually break up the relationship. Do you really feel like if they meet the next person and then this person is so special, like, oh my God, this is the one that I love so much that I'm going to change how I've been built my entire life. I'm going to all of a sudden do a 180 and forget the experiences I've had in life and forget all maybe childhood traumas that I've had or just my upbringing. And I'm going to all of a sudden, I'm going to bring in like healthy conflict and I'm going to talk about all my feelings. I'm going to get so comfortable expressing myself because they're the one. I met the one. I met the magic one. Please. I think you can tell how I feel about I deal with so many people on a daily basis that cannot get out of their own way because of how they are built. Do they love the person they're with or the person that they maybe have just broken up with? Yes. Was that enough to change them? No. Change is so freaking hard. Little changes we can make, little tweaks, little changes, of course. Big changes take a ton of work, especially if they're deeply rooted. So don't believe for 1 second that it's because, they love somebody else better and you weren't enough. You weren't the one and they're going to change. Just watch them come up and you hear this about people who are like serial cheaters. They'll be like, well, when I meet the one, I'm not going to cheat anymore. Really? Really? This is your answer to problems is cheating. Wherever that is born, I don't know this person particularly, but if they're struggling with every time there's an issue or a problem, they kind of run away and look for this outlet or need a validation somewhere else, that comes from somewhere really deeply rooted that has nothing to do with their partnership. Nothing. So stop thinking that you need to swallow this and be like, well, I guess I wasn't the one. They didn't love me enough. That's bogus. That really is. And I don't want you to buy into when you hear that being thrown out there as if change is so easy. The person is just waiting for the right one. Then it's going to happen magically. That is not going to happen. People are who they are unless they do a ton of work. And usually when someone is ready to kind of do the work, that's coming from something inside of them. You'll say sometimes you'll hear people say, well, they dated this person for 6 years. Then all of a sudden they got into this new relationship and they were married within 6 months. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's everybody's worst nightmare. Did they change for this new person? Were they just like spending time with this one person for a period of time? And now they're over here and they met the magic one. And now they're going to walk down the aisle and do all the things they weren't going to do for their previous partner. But usually that's a case of this person has created some sort of a pattern. They realize a lot of times what they did in this previous relationship, how they may have dragged their feet. They really weren't ready to make moves and they're tired of their own BS. When people make changes, it's because they're tired of the way they're living. So do they always go back to the person that may have been the one in their life for quite some time? Not always. Not always. But people make changes when they are ready, not because of the circumstances and the people. The people aren't making them change. They are deciding. I've done enough of this. I don't feel like doing this anymore. I'm tired of my own BS. I'm going to make the changes and I'm going to do them here and now. So it's more timing when it comes to the person that they end up getting into that relationship with and maybe making some changes than it is the person. So please stop buying into you weren't enough. They didn't love you enough to make the changes. People have a very hard time making changes. Very hard. It's going to happen on their timeline when and if they are ready. If they are ready. So stop thinking there are magic people out there. There aren't. You're your own magic. You are your own magic. And that person is their own magic, hopefully, at some point. So we just